So I hope to explain the reasons for side effects from medication and side effects that last even after having discontinued medication. So we try to work primarily on the cellular level with various therapies that we have. We have approximately 40 to 50 trillion cells in the body and brain. So just to clarify a couple of things, the cell has a nucleus and it also has hundreds of mitochondria. Mitochondria they have a lot of different functions, but they primarily produce energy, or what's referred to as ATP. So most medications are transported fairly passively through the membrane of the cell and enter and have their effect primarily on mitochondria, to some extent on the nucleus of the cell as well. And once their action has taken place, then they must leave the cell. The residues of these drugs must leave the cell through what's considered to be an active transport, which means once they've had their action, they must then be transported outside of the cell through the membrane by the ATP. So good production of ATP means that the cells will clear these waste products fairly easily. But for some people, and for various reasons, their mitochondria are not producing adequate amounts of ATP, partly because of these residues starting to accumulate inside the cell. The mitochondria are affected in a negative way. ATP production goes down, and therefore the transport of these residues do not leave the cell, and therefore the cell's function begins to decline, primarily because of mitochondrial dysfunction. These mitochondria require nutrients, most of the B vitamins, alpha-lipoic acid, glutathione, etc. And if a person is not assimilating nutrients well, or they have nutrient deficiencies, their mitochondria are already compromised. And they have symptoms. They go to their doctor, I'm feeling this way. All the lab tests come back fairly normal. The doctor says this must be a psychological issue. I mean, there's many reasons why drugs are prescribed. But the mitochondria in this person is already somewhat compromised. They throw drugs into the cell. Mitochondrial function starts declining even more, and they start to have symptoms. And all the cells of the body are affected this way. Not so much fat cells to some extent, but most cells, especially those that are rich in mitochondria, brain cells, liver, heart cells, etc. So even after a person has discontinued a medication or pharmaceutical, their mitochondria still is not functioning optimally. They wonder why they're still having the same symptoms, because it's still a mitochondrial dysfunction. So ideally what you want to do is increase the function of the mitochondria, and that's the IV NAD is one amazing therapy to do that, to increase mitochondrial function, and therefore the cells can then kick out these residues, and many side effects will disappear. But you've also got to be working on other nutrients, improving digestion, assimilation, the quality of food, etc. Certain IVs that will be rich in those B vitamins, alpha-lipoic acid, to really nourish the cells, and that will increase the person's vitality, energy, mental and physical wellness. And also another factor here is that every cell has an amazing intelligence. And a lot of the function of that cell is determined by the health of this lipid membrane. And you have to repair this membrane, because there's all types of, the membrane is basically like the sensory, it's sensing the environment. Various hormones hook onto their particular receptors. Other hormones have to enter through that membrane. So using phospholipids, these membranes are rich in phospholipids and cholesterol and proteins. So the repair of these membranes can be done through different types of phospholipids, like choline, inositol, serine. So those can be taken orally. We also have the IVs, the Plaquex from Europe, to repair cellular membranes. So this is the primary reason for side effects from pharmaceuticals, is mitochondrial dysfunction.